Welcome to today's transformation journey. In this video, we'll take you inside a home that once felt dull, uninspired, and lifeless. Through careful design choices and creative touches, we'll reimagine the entire space with vintage-inspired charm. Think of worn-out corners becoming warm reading nooks, outdated furniture gaining a second life, and neutral walls glowing with timeless character. This is more than a makeover. It's a story of giving a home soul. So let's step inside and begin this exciting Drab to Fab adventure. Before diving into the details, we need to understand the vision behind this makeover. The goal was to create a space that feels welcoming, cozy, and timeless, while also honoring the charm of vintage-inspired design. The homeowner wanted a blend of rustic elegance and nostalgic comfort, something that instantly makes you feel at home. By combining thrifted treasures, clever DIYs, and curated vintage-style pieces, we aim to strike the perfect balance between practical living and stylish beauty. When we first walked in, the house lacked personality. The walls were plain, the furniture outdated, and the layout uninspiring. It wasn't a space that invited you to linger. Instead, it felt more like a placeholder rather than a home. But we knew that with some creativity and effort, this drab beginning would serve as the perfect blank canvas for a fabulous transformation. Sometimes, the less character a room has, the more opportunities you have to shape it into something special. Every vintage-inspired makeover begins with a sense of nostalgia. We pulled ideas from Old English cottages, farmhouse aesthetics, and mid-century design to weave together a look that felt layered yet intentional. Inspiration came from time-worn wood finishes, classic floral patterns, and furniture silhouettes that tell a story. The idea wasn't to replicate a museum-like vintage look, but rather to borrow the warmth, craftsmanship, and charm from the past and blend it seamlessly with modern comfort. Color is one of the most transformative tools in design. For this makeover, we leaned into a palette of warm neutrals, muted greens, creamy whites, and touches of soft gold. These shades immediately created an inviting and timeless atmosphere. Neutral backdrops allowed vintage pieces to shine, while the accents of earthy green and deep wood tones grounded the space. The careful layering of color set the stage for the entire home, making each room feel cohesive yet full of character. The walls played a huge role in the transformation. Instead of plain flat paint, we added paneling, wainscoting, and wallpaper with vintage-inspired prints. A subtle floral pattern in the living area gave the space charm without overwhelming it. In the hallway, classic beadboard added texture, while soft cream tones kept it light. These details may seem small, but they dramatically shifted the atmosphere, turning bare walls into storytelling backdrops that instantly evoked warmth and nostalgia. The existing floors were dull and lifeless, so we gave them a complete revival. We chose wide plankwood floors with a slightly distressed finish, creating the feeling of an old, lived-in home full of stories. The texture and warmth of the wood instantly elevated the rooms. For cozy corners, we layered vintage-inspired rugs with intricate patterns and faded colors, which softened the look and added a sense of history. This foundation of style set the perfect stage for furniture and decor. The living room is often the heart of the home, and here it became the centerpiece of the makeover. We replaced bulky, outdated furniture with elegant yet comfortable seating, including a tufted sofa in neutral linen and a pair of vintage armchairs. A reclaimed wood coffee table brought rustic balance, while curated decor, like brass candle holders, framed botanical prints, and a collection of old books, completed the look. Every corner of the living room now invites relaxation, conversation, and connection. Lighting transformed the ambience in a powerful way. We replaced harsh, modern fixtures with antique-inspired chandeliers, wall sconces, and table lamps. Each piece added both functionality and charm. The living room glows under a wrought iron chandelier with warm bulbs, while brass sconces cast a soft glow in the hallway. Even small details like lampshades made from natural linen gave the lighting character. The play of warm light against textured walls made the entire home feel cozy, intimate, and alive. The dining room embraced a rustic farmhouse look with vintage elegance. We introduced a large wooden table with distressed edges, paired with mismatched chairs for a collected over time feel. The centerpiece was a long runner with fresh flowers in vintage vases, echoing the spirit of gatherings past. A charming sideboard held thrifted china and glassware, while a vintage-inspired chandelier hung overhead. This room truly captured the essence of timeless dining, inviting family and friends to share meals and memories. The kitchen makeover focused on creating warmth and function. White cabinets with brass hardware gave a fresh yet vintage appeal. Open shelving displayed stoneware, glass jars, and antique kitchen tools, all adding character. A farmhouse sink, paired with a bridge faucet, became the focal point. To tie it all together, we added pattern tile behind the stove, inspired by old European kitchens. The kitchen now feels like a space where both cooking and conversation flow naturally, with character in every corner. The bedroom became a cozy retreat with vintage soul. We chose an iron bed frame with soft, layered bedding in muted florals and natural linen. An antique dresser with a distressed finish brought timeless beauty and extra storage. A soft rug underfoot, paired with lace curtains, created an atmosphere of comfort and romance. Adding a gallery wall of vintage-inspired artwork tied the room together. This bedroom now feels like a dreamy sanctuary, blending old-world charm with restful simplicity. The bathroom, once cold and plain, now feels warm and inviting. We introduced a clawfoot tub, vintage-inspired faucets, and patterned tile flooring that resembles designs from the early 1900s. A distressed wood vanity with a marble top balanced elegance with rustic charm. Brass mirrors and wall sconces added warmth, while fresh greenery brought life. This bathroom doesn't just serve function. It transports you to a space where vintage aesthetics meet modern relaxation, creating the perfect environment for daily rituals. Sometimes, it's the smallest details that create the biggest transformations. From vintage doorknobs to antique-style drawer pulls, each accent told part of the story. Old picture frames, ceramic vases, and aged candlesticks added character to shelves and tables. Even simple touches like woven baskets, embroidered pillows, and soft throws brought texture and charm. These little choices work together like brushstrokes on a canvas, turning ordinary corners into extraordinary showcases of personality and warmth. A big part of this makeover was sourcing thrifted and secondhand treasures. Instead of buying everything new, we hunted for items with history. An old trunk became a coffee table, mismatched teacups turned into a wall display, and an antique mirror added depth to the entryway. These finds not only saved money but also gave the home authenticity. Each thrifted treasure carried its own story, and when woven into the design, they created layers of charm that no store-bought decor could match. To personalize the home even more, we introduced DIY projects. From painting old furniture to creating custom art pieces, each project added a handmade touch. For example, an outdated cabinet was sanded, painted, and distressed to create a stunning storage piece. A plain wall became an accent with stenciled vintage patterns. These DIYs didn't just save costs, they also infused the home with creativity and heart. It's these personal touches that truly make a house feel like home. Every home needs little nooks that invite you to pause and enjoy. We created cozy corners with vintage armchairs, soft blankets, and small side tables. One reading nook featured an old lamp, a stack of books, and a comfortable chair by the window. Another cozy space was styled with plants, giving it life and freshness. These corners weren't just decorative, they were designed for real living, reminding us that the best homes are the ones that nurture relaxation and comfort. While the focus was on vintage inspiration, it was important to balance it with modern convenience. New appliances, comfortable upholstery, and updated plumbing ensured that the home remained practical and livable. The trick was blending these modern necessities with vintage style, so they didn't feel out of place. For example, a sleek dishwasher was hidden behind a cabinet panel, while a modern sofa was dressed with vintage-style pillows. This balance gave the home both functionality and timeless beauty. Cohesion was key in this makeover. We wanted each room to have its own personality, but also feel connected. The color palette carried throughout, and repeating elements, like brass finishes, wood accents, and floral patterns, tied everything together. Walking from one room to the next felt natural, like turning the pages of a well-written story. The flow ensured that the home didn't feel like a collection of mismatched styles, but rather a thoughtful, unified journey from start to finish. The makeover didn't stop inside. The outdoor space received a little vintage love too. We refreshed the entryway with potted plants in terracotta pots, a rustic bench, and a vintage-style lantern. The patio was styled with wrought iron furniture, soft cushions, and string lights that gave it a timeless European cafe feel. These touches ensured that the exterior matched the warmth and charm of the interior, creating a full-circle transformation that welcomed you before even stepping inside. What makes a home truly special is the personal touch. We incorporated family heirlooms, framed photos, and handmade quilts into the design. These pieces told the story of the homeowner's journey, blending seamlessly with vintage decor. A grandfather's clock stood proudly in the hallway, while a handmade blanket draped across the sofa added sentimental warmth. Personal touches like these turned the house into more than just a styled space. They made it a true reflection of the people who live there. Layering was a key design technique in this makeover. Layered textiles like rugs, throws, and pillows added depth and comfort. Layered wall decor with artwork, mirrors, and shelving created visual interest. Even furniture arrangements used layering, with smaller side tables complementing larger statement pieces. This approach gave the home richness and character, avoiding the flat, staged look that often comes with quick decorating. Each layer added warmth, texture, and a sense of lived-in beauty that defines vintage-inspired design. When the final touches were complete, the transformation was breathtaking. The once drab, uninspiring house had become a warm, inviting home filled with character and charm. Every corner told a story, every piece felt intentional, and the atmosphere radiated comfort. The homeowner's face lit up during the reveal, overwhelmed by how different the space felt. What was once a lifeless house had truly become a fab vintage-inspired home, blending the beauty of the past with the comforts of today. This transformation taught us valuable lessons about design. First, you don't need to spend a fortune to create a beautiful home. Thrifted finds and DIY projects can make a huge impact. Second, details matter. Small touches like hardware, textiles, and accessories can completely shift the mood of a room. Lastly, the best homes tell a story. By blending personal treasures with vintage style, we created a space that feels not just styled, but truly lived in and loved. And that brings us to the end of our journey. From drab beginnings to a fabulous vintage-inspired home. This makeover was about more than just design. It was about creating warmth, nostalgia, and a sense of belonging. With a mix of thrifted treasures, thoughtful DIYs, and timeless style, we turned an uninspiring space into a home full of life and character. I hope this inspires you to see the potential in your own spaces and to embrace the beauty of vintage charm in your everyday home.